Hello, this is Daily Recall on February 28th, 2026. I'm Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Oh, something happened with my screen here. Hold on. Yeah, so we've been talking about it for a while, and it finally happened last night when everybody was sleeping as the U.S. started their war against Iran. And it's been like 20 years I thought this was going to happen, and it finally happened. So it's pretty horrible, I think. Like, we figure we haven't learned anything since Iraq, since Afghanistan, since Syria, Libya. It's like, wow. And everybody's cheering for it. And I really get annoyed. I haven't really been very productive today on the social media. I've been swearing too much. But I just don't like these warmongers on Twitter. And after, we've been lied to, and like each and every time how there's regime change is to make us safe and all this, and protect the people of whatever country you're invading, and then next thing you know, they're all coming to your country as refugees. Happened like when they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. Where do you think all these millions of refugees coming to Europe are coming from? When they got rid of Gaddafi in Libya, sorry, my video's all screwed up. When they got rid of Gaddafi in Libya, African refugees, or fake refugees, but migrants, poured through Libya and then across the Mediterranean into Europe. So when Syria got torn apart, millions of Syrians left to Europe and Canada. And Iran is way bigger than Syria, so I'm sure we'll get tons of refugees from this if it gets worse. I mean, it's still early. We'll see what happens. Very early. So that's the situation. It's horrible. I think I don't think it's good at all. The propaganda on the TV is insane, like, and on social media. It's like the push is on, like, to, I don't know what's going on with my computer tonight. The push is on to, like, really get the public either cheering for the war or afraid to criticize it. So the propaganda in the next 24 or 48 hours is going to be incredible. It's just going to be insane. I had to turn it off. Like, I can't watch it. It's like going right into my brain. And they said I guess they killed the Iranian supreme leader, Khamenei, confirmed killed. There was speculation whether he was actually dead or not, and apparently he's dead. But I mean, the dude was like 80 years old, so I mean, I don't know what's going on with my computer tonight. This is really annoying. So it was like, he's 80 years old. I mean, yeah, he's dead, but I'm sure they kind of anticipated this. So I don't know. It's like, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the stuff you see on Fox News and CNN is like all the good news. Okay, yeah, all the stuff the guys are killing and the hits they're making, but they're not showing the bad news, or if there's any American casualties or injuries or damage, or like, it's very sanitized. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we'll see. Like I said, it's early. I hope it's just like a short skirmish and they come to some kind of agreement, but I don't think so. I think it's going to escalate, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to anyway, I want to focus on the Canadian angle here. So the response, well, let's go first to what Trump said this morning. Like, this is what I woke up to. He basically, in the middle of the night, so it was like daylight in Iran, and he's at Mar-a-Lago. He's not even at the White House. And this is what he said.
That often happens in war.
Okay, here we go.
But we're doing.
So this is his announcement for the war. I mean, what struck me is how nonchalant it was. Like, he's like, no, there's no gravity in his voice. Like, people could die. But it's weird.
Lives of courageous American. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
No. Iran attacks Dubai.
Shit, it's gonna fall.
This is Dubai. No. Some crazy video coming out of the first day.
That hit.
Also, you don't know what's fake or not. Like, there's gonna be a lot of fake stuff going on the internet.
Look, one more.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's coming towards us, looks like.
Dubai.
Rem, this is coming towards us.
All right, not that exciting.
The Iranians are too smart.
All right.
The lives of courageous American heroes.
So the Canadian response to this, that's Trump saying, hey, we're going to war. If Americans die, oh well. Like, it was weird. It's almost like he's being forced to. So in Canada, first we got Mark Carney. My statement on Iran-related hostilities in the Middle East. So the key part here is he says, the Islamic Republic of Iran is the principal source of instability and terror throughout the Middle East, has one of the worst human rights records, and must never be allowed to obtain or develop nuclear weapons. All right. So basically, the big news from Carney was he supported the American attack against Iran. He says, Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to prevent its regime from further threatening international peace and security. Canadian government urges the protection of all civilians in this conflict. We will take all possible measures to protect our nationals. Okay, so basically he's saying we support the bombing as long as you don't kill too many people. So, which is kind of weird because, like, he's been tussling with Trump all this time with trade and even threatening annexation, calling him governor, and then he agrees with him on this. So it kind of shows all that theatrics. Really, they're two wings of the same bird. They have the same goals, ultimate goals, it seems, and it's like the uniparty in the U.S. and Canada. They're both, the Republican Party and the Democrats are pretty on board with this. And in Canada, the Conservative Party is exactly on the same, has the same position as the Liberals on this. Just like Ukraine, of course. So, just like COVID, of course. So the uniparty shining bright here. Here's Pierre. Basically, he's spouting these Israel talking points. Oh, he mentions October 7th. He's saying all the bad things Iran's done. This is why conservatives support the courageous people of Iran in toppling this terror regime and reclaiming their destiny after 47 years of the regime's occupation. So regime, he's saying the regime on purpose, because it's a regime change war. That's all it was. Just like all the other ones. Of course, conservatives support a democratic, free, and permanently denuclearized Iran that lives in peace and security with its neighbors. All right. And conservatives support the United States, Israel, and our allies across the Gulf to defend their sovereignty and dismantle the clerical military dictatorship of Iran. Warmongers, all of them. So, yeah, it sounds nice and dandy, but we're going to get screwed, I think. Like, if it falls apart, and Iran is a very diverse country, so it could fall apart. That's millions of people, and hopefully it doesn't get to that where, you know, Syria level fracture. But if it happens, it will be like really bad. Like Canada, I think, is going to get hundreds of thousands of newcomers as a result of this. So that's my main concern with this, is we're doing the same thing over and over again, and then we wonder why we're getting flooded with endless streams of refugees and, you know, non-compatible people, because we keep bombing half the place there. So that's what I'm saying. Traitors in Canada flooding Canada with millions of Indians and other like Muslim refugees from Israel forever wars. That's the real concern for me. But then they say, oh, you support the mullahs. I don't give a shit about the mullahs, to be honest. But I care about millions of them trying to come here. See, meanwhile, while this is going on, they're in India. Mark Carney's in India with a delegation to drum up more trade. And every time India gets foreign leaders going to India to do trade deals, they always have a certain announcement on how we're going to take more Indian workers. Here's this guy. I don't know who this guy is. He's one of Carney's cabinet ministers. Who is this? So he says mass immigration from India has slowly morphed Canada into a third world country. Yeah, that's what's more concerning to me, not Iran. So without asking anyone, the government creates another pathway for them to commit massive fraud through our tech sector. Let's see what he says here. This is in India right now.
Counterparts. Our relationship must evolve. Our relationship must evolve to achieve both countries' long-term objectives. What's clear is that through all of our exchanges we have and will continue to have with our Indian counterparts, India is central to Canada's future, and Canada is committed to being a long-term trusted partner in India's Viksit Bharat 2047 journey.
I don't even know what that means.
India is a leading global source of technology, engineering, and business talent, and a key partner in advanced research collaborations. In an era where competitiveness depends on ideas, skills, and innovation, our universities, colleges, and polytechnics are essential bridges between our two countries. And that is why, big buildup.
Oh, God.
We are so pleased today to announce, with the strong support of our government, that we will build a new Canada-India talent and innovation strategy.
Oh, God.
Universities Canada is honored to help lead the development of this new strategy in collaboration with our Indian counterparts.
So this is
when Iran's regime.
This is what they're discussing in India, Mark Carney. There's other comments, but we're trying to get rid of the ones we already have, and here they are saying how they're going to bring infinity more. But I'm supposed to worry about Iran. Like, that's crazy. It's so upside down. Like, people, they're more worried about Iran doing something with, like, we're told they threaten our security, but meanwhile we're getting flooded with all these millions and millions of Indians. It's more of a threat than Iran ever will be. Here's John Carter. The only thing India is good at is a global innovation leader in finding ways to run call center scams. Yes, he was saying about India being this tech center, more like scam center. Indian High Commissioner of Canada says that Canada needs 60 million Indians and he can help arrange that. Yeah, I saw this last month, but this is their mindset. They see Canada as like an empty country. Oh, there's only 40 million there. We can fit way more people. Because like in India, they got 1.5 billion almost. And Canada's bigger than, so they see it, they think Canada's empty. So this is kind of the mindset. We'll see. I remember watching this.
At least about 100 million population. You have things which we need, we have things which you need. I mean, for example, simple examples. We have, you're a country of, you're the second largest country in the world with a 40 million population, 40 million population. You need at least about 100 million population.
Yeah,
you need people to man many of your resources. We have the capacity, we have the intellect, we have the talent, we have the resources.
So you see where this is going, right? Now, for some reason, this video is going around today, but I saw it last month, and I showed it last month, and it was horrible. But I guess it doesn't hurt to see it again. Anyway, meanwhile, I was saying about Pierre and Carney being on the same page on this thing, just like Ukraine, just like COVID. So I liked Max Bernier, who's PPC, and he had a pretty good response to it. And you won't find any Canadians talking like this, any Canadian politicians. They're just clapping seals. So he says Trump's launching another reckless war to instigate a regime change. He used to understand that such military interventions more often than not have disastrous consequences for both the population of the targeted country and for Americans, and to denounce the warmongers in both the Republican and Democratic parties. He used to do that. He used to be like that. But the neocon imperialists have hijacked his government, and they are putting out the same ridiculous propaganda to justify this war that George W. Bush did when he invaded Iraq in 2003. I cannot support the U.S. for once again bombing a country that poses no threat to them. They act as they have for decades, like imperialist bullies who believe they have the right to do whatever they want anywhere in the world. Canada must remain neutral and stay out of this and other foreign conflicts that do not directly concern us, and has always put Canada's interest first. At the very least, you know, yeah, that's a good answer. Rupert Lowe from Restore UK said the same thing. Basically, it's like we don't want refugees from this new war. When all the other British leaders were saying, the conservative ones at least, yeah, the European leaders aren't too gung ho about this. It seems, which is weird because Carney's usually with them, with his European bros. Okay, so I said he's a right to oppose this Iran war, unlike the uniparty traitors like Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre. Yeah. They're more worried about, at least Pierre, like the Liberals. The Liberals don't care if refugees come because that's more voters for them. But the Conservatives, you know, that's not a big concern for them. They're more worried about Iran than, you know, what the hell is happening to Canada. In fact, they want to. What the Conservatives and the Liberals are doing is worse than what Iran will ever do to Canada. Like, they're bringing infinity in number of people. The numbers are staggering. But yeah, we're supposed to worry about Iran. So this is where I get upset. Canada is doomed. Here's Mark Carney in India. His plan to bring more Indians. Every time a leader goes to India, they have to bring more Indians. That's the deal, if they want to sell stuff to India. Canadian universities are launching new talent partnerships in India. Talent partnerships. That's what they're calling them now. Not visa scams. 13 new agreements for research, hybrid campuses, and AI centers of excellence. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fraud in those. This will provide invaluable experience for students and strengthen our world-class universities on both sides of the Pacific. All right. We'll see. Hopefully not. Here's table salt. Why is the Liberal Party of Canada so obsessed with bringing too many Indians to Canada? Like, we didn't have enough houses, we literally ran out. And now Carney is in India figuring ways to bring more. What is with these guys and infinite Indians? It's weird. There's so many Indians. It's an endless stream. And they all want to get the hell out of India. That's the problem. Okay. So that's a Canadian thing. Basically, the Canadian leaders support the Iran attack. I mean, they kind of had to, I guess, if they didn't, because they're weak. They don't want to fight Trump on this. Like, it's a big thing to counter him on. Like, tariffs are one thing, but to oppose his Iraq war would probably bring repercussions, and they didn't want those repercussions, even if they don't. But they probably, it looks like he agrees with them, I guess. Because, like I said, for Carney, that's more voters for him when the refugees stream into Canada. All right. Now, I was looking at a lot of this going on around the internet. Charlie Kirk is the guy who was killed 6 months ago, and now they're the one thing he was vehemently opposed to was going to war against Iran, and then he got killed. And I'm starting to think more and more that's the reason they killed him, because like it's crazy the timing. He basically did a lot when Trump bombed Iran earlier in the year. He did a lot of basically pressure on Trump to not start a big war. So Trump just limited it to just a couple bombing runs. And then, a little while later, Charlie gets a bullet to the neck or whatever the hell happened. And then 6 months later, the Iran war is back on full swing. So, kind of suspicious. But it's weird. It's kind of weird. It's kind of suspicious. Charlie Kirk in June of 2025, explaining why a massive U.S. war against Iran and an attempt to facilitate regime change as pushed by people like Lindsey Graham is pathologically insane. So yeah, Lindsey Graham's having a jizz fest today.
Wouldn't the world be better off if the Ayatollahs went away
this is
and
June
replaced
2025.
Let's do some updates about Israel and Iran and potentially the United States. On one side is the Lindsey Graham, John Bolton types, where they are actively calling for regime change. Here is Lindsey Graham.
Those guys are all happy today. They're on CNN today.
This kind of analysis is not helpful. This kind of approach, this kind of argument, it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons at this point. This is now that we want to go all in and take out the regime. It's time for us to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen and start a new chapter in the Middle East. And that sounds good, doesn't it? But what have we learned when it comes to wars, and especially wars in the Middle East?
Yes.
What you draw up on a whiteboard rarely happens. What you think theoretically is going to occur, there might be unintended and unforeseen consequences.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about a country 2.5 times the size of Texas. It has 90 million people and was an ancient and great power with well over a dozen ethnic groups. You have underground...
It's only day one. So all the cheerleaders who think it's over, it could be over. I don't think so, but it's only day one.
Christians, you don't really have many Jews left in Persia, but also you have secular younger Persians. Who's going to run the country exactly, Lindsey Graham? This sounds like Hillary Rodham Clinton in Libya.
Yep.
So I'm pointing to the first extreme right now, the neoconservative extreme. The we must go take off the head of the snake right now. Play cut 285.
Be all in, President Trump, in helping Israel eliminate the nuclear threat. If we need to provide bombs to Israel, provide bombs. If we need to fly planes with Israel, do joint operations. But here's the bigger question. Wouldn't the world be better off if the Ayatollahs went away and replaced by something better? Wouldn't Iran be better off? It's time to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen. Let's close that chapter soon and start a new chapter in the Mideast, one of tolerance, hope, and peace.
Okay, that sounds good, but that's pathologically insane. I'm sorry, it is.
So that's what he said,
How do you know it's going to be better? Yeah, the Ayatollah is awful. But maybe he's one of the few guys that can keep that country together and not have a 90 million person civil war. Lindsey Graham is so consistently out of his mind, it's hard to even comprehend. Iran is hugely diverse. It is a massive country. Yeah. Do the people agitating for war even know that? Because be clear, regime change is war. Just to understand, regime change is not like changing the head coach at the Chicago Bears. It's not how it works. It's not like a clean transfer. Typically in the Mideast, it's very messy, creates a quagmire, and then there is civil war. Do you understand how large Iran is? It's massive. It's a very big country. It's mountainous. It makes Afghanistan and Iraq look like a cakewalk. Just look at this beast of a country with all the different regions, all the different dialects, if we could put that up on screen. And then you have a major refugee concern of Mohammedans that will come to Europe and endanger more Christians and Jews, and Mohammedans that will come to America. No,
Canada.
That is wrong. So that is one extreme. The other extreme is one that I have deep respect and reverence for, because I actually think if we had that other extreme, we would not have invaded Iraq. This other extreme is philosophically important. It's important to consider, and that's the Ron Paul extreme. And I love Ron Paul. Ron Paul is awesome. I would have Ron Paul on the show regularly. He is a hero because Ron Paul had the courage to challenge old sacred cows of the Republican Party. He made people defend the indefensible. But the Ron Paul perspective is strictly isolationist. I actually agree with a lot of this other extreme. A lot. I think it's healthy to have this other extreme more than the neoconservative extreme, because this extreme has been underrepresented in the public dialogue and discourse the last 20 years. So you have these two extremes. I honestly don't think the neoconservative extreme needs to be represented philosophically anymore. It's uninteresting to me. They've done a mess of Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, the entire Middle East, Ukraine. We know what the neoconservatives believe. I do think hearing out, and honestly, I agree with a lot of the more, I think isolationist is used as a pejorative, but let's just say restrained community. Take out the Ayatollah. Resist that temptation. That's not prudence. That's not self-control. That's something else talking. That's a zeal. And that very same zeal got us involved in a pile of garbage in Iraq. It all felt good with shock and awe in March of 2003.
Yeah.
We're unstoppable. We're going to take Iraq in a weekend. Turns out, it didn't work that way. A lot of people died. A lot of Americans died unnecessarily.
All right. So it's kind of a chilling video to see how he basically laid out some really, like, exactly how I feel. Like, it's gonna, like, we've seen this show before, and it's been a lie every time, and yet people keep falling for it. And this poor guy, I'm totally convinced, although I can't prove it, because it'll never get proven, but that this is why they killed the guy, because he had a very, very large base of support, and he was in the way. He was in the way of this war, and when you get in the way of the war, bad things happen to you. Like this guy says, who had the biggest motive to take out Charlie Kirk? It's not complicated to figure out. So, here's another Charlie Kirk post. This is insane. Regime change results in bloody civil war, killing hundreds of thousands and creating another massive Muslim refugee crisis. Toppling a leader is never as easy as you think. It's almost always results in further involvement in civil war and chaos. Resist this. So it's kind of his voice from the grave on this first day of the Iran attack. And yeah, perfect sense that they killed him over this. People have been killed for a lot less. Poor guy. But he went into the Oval Office and like really hammered Trump on not invade, and I think that's when they decided, okay, he's got to go. During the first attack, when they called everybody panicans for saying, "Oh, Trump's going to start a war." Oh, he's just gonna do a couple bunker busters. Well, that was just a warm up. Here's Tucker Carlson, who called Trump's thing disgusting and vile or something. That was Tucker's words against Trump's decision to attack. So I don't know if Tucker's going to be allowed be invited into the White House anymore. So here, Tucker Carlson tells Megyn Kelly that Charlie Kirk is the only one who went to the president and told him that a war with Iran is not a good idea. He got massive abuse from his donors and made real enemies from doing that. Real enemies.
And he said, look, I understand your perspective. This is my perspective, and we're going to do... He was one of the only people, I mean, truly one of the only people to go to the president whom he loved. He loved Donald Trump, like personally as well. And I think the president really loved him in a real way. But he was one of the only people to go to the Oval Office and say, sir, I totally understand and think Iran's really bad, but a war with Iran is not, is something that could really hurt our country. I mean, boy, that was an unpopular position. He didn't need to express it. Oh, of course. And he did it again. He didn't have some weird agenda. He wasn't mad at anybody. He was for his country, and he was for doing the right and wise and difficult thing. And he said that. He went to the Oval Office to say that. He took massive abuse from his own donors, which is also something that you don't see people. And he loved his donors. It wasn't a hostile thing, but they had a different view. A lot of them, not all, but a lot. And they expressed it to him in a very intense way. I know because he showed me. And he said, look, I understand your perspective. This is my perspective, and we're going to do what we think is the right thing, the wise thing.
In that way, too.
And then they killed him. And then he died. Now he's dead. So that's some of the... This kind of crystallizes, the motives for killing him. Because, like, literally 6 months later, they're doing the exact opposite of what he was, didn't want. Like, he didn't want it, and they're doing the exact thing he didn't want. And then the TPUSA organization, they basically co-opted it, so it'll run cover for the war now. When, Charlie was alive, that wouldn't have happened. Or maybe he would have buckled, I don't know. They're saying he would have buckled. His former colleagues at TPU say, oh, Charlie would have supported this. Well, he's dead now, so. All right, so I was kind of a little vulgar today on X because I was just basically saying anybody who's kind of gleeful or some fake ass leader, U.S. politician who's like all cheerleading this, I was basically saying, fuck off, you warmongers, because I hate warmongering. It's, you know, a lot of these guys that warmonger won't go near the actual fighting and they shit their pants if they went through a little bombing raid where like you could get blown up by a 500-pound bomb. So I hate people that cheerlead wars, especially, you know, when they have like a certain, like, they're more interested in Israel's security and well-being than the country than Canada. So it's ridiculous. Like I said, we have millions of people streaming into Canada, and people are obsessed with how do we remove the regime in Iran. All right, so let's just read some of the tweets. So I wasn't very constructive today because I was very I hate warmongering, cheerleading, and warmongering. Warmongering, cheerleading. All right. Here's 3 in 4 Americans didn't want a war with Iran, but Netanyahu did. So bombs away. We're simply not a sovereign country occupied. Yeah, that's the feeling from like former Trump supporters, because they expected him to like not do this, like all this. Remember, we're talking about all the other regime changes in the Middle East, in particular. I mean, there's been regime changes for decades, starting with Iran in '53. So Trump was the guy who's promising that was over, like no more. But when you have an empire, I guess regime change is part of the job, part of the deal. But he burnt a lot of his support. So I don't know how this, it'll be. There's no really anybody. You can't really make a prediction how this is all going to play out. We're just going to watch it day by day. I don't know if it's good. I don't think it's going to end up good. I hope I'm wrong. Here's Rupert Lowe from, he's leading this new nationalist party in the UK that wants to do remigration and mass deportations. This is what he said about Iran. It's kind of reminding me of what Maxime Bernier said. So, a foreign regime change through military intervention is not a strategy that has served Britain at all. Many British men and women have needlessly died to achieve that. Restore Britain's position on foreign affairs is absolutely clear. We will act when and only when Britain's interests are being protected. And this can only be done after years of rebuilding and rearming. Our depleted armed forces are in no position to fight nor intervene. The capacity simply is not there. We don't have enough soldiers, bullets, tanks, jets, or missiles. Not even a functioning economy. See, yeah. Western countries are falling apart, and their main priority is to arm up, whether it's war in Ukraine, war in Iran. Americans are in a very different position to us. They are operating on an entirely different level. Their decisions are their decisions. We must accept the honest truth that our military has been brutally hollowed out. Okay. So basically saying we're in no position to get involved, nor should we. So it's basically, it's a good answer. I liked it. Like it's a more realistic, it's more honest, like you're not doing this rah cheerleading. And like I said, I was watching Fox and CNN all day, and it's like there's no bad news. Okay. It's all good news. I'm sure like there's a little bit of bad news and good news. Like there's a little bit of both in war. I mean, in war, not in war, but in results, I guess, for your side. Okay. I saw this. This is how I felt today, because I've lived through all this. Like, I remember when Bush was doing the push for Iraq, 2003, and we didn't have the internet like we do today. Social media wasn't around, so it was total propaganda on CNN and all the. I don't know if Fox News was the thing, but it was a total push for. Yes, Fox. I think Fox is around, but this is like that on steroids. Like, you got the mainstream press, like you watch the networks, and it's total, the American networks, there's like zero people, like kind of like a Charlie Kirk would be on to say, hey, what are we doing here? It's mostly on Fox and CNN, it's mostly just cheerleaders. So this is what we've had every president, and Trump was supposed to stop it, and apparently that didn't happen. I mean, you feel a little naive to think he might have stopped it, but you have to have a little hope sometimes, and that hope has been totally dashed. There wasn't really any hope. It's like the thing you tell yourself. You know it's not true, even if you want it. Hopefully it could be. So here's, no matter who you vote for, the debt keeps rising and the bombs keep dropping. And it's the same with Canada. No matter who you vote for, the debt keeps rising and the Indians keep coming. Doesn't matter who you vote for, basically. All the decisions it's all facade. The illusion of democracy. And here's a video. This is the reason. This video is the reason I got onto the Trump train, because I was like, if he does this, I'm all for it. Hold on. If he's like this, I'll support that. No problem. It's when he was running for president the first time. He was in the debates with the Republican primary, and he totally dismantled Jeb Bush and the whole Bush dynasty and the whole neocon movement. And it was such a thing, because in politics, growing up and watching politics, you'd never seen somebody talk like this on a national stage and get the reaction from the crowd. But that Trump was all a lie, apparently. But here, this is about the Iraq War.
But that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
We're going to be...
There's another one.
Iraq,
But that's the gist. Like, basically, that's the whole reason Trump was popular with the MAGA, because he was not a neocon, and now he's a neocon. So that's the gist of it. This is Orwellian, the pro-peace ticket. This is from the Republican Party account, the pro-peace ticket. It's like Orwellian to the max. Here's David Sachs. He's been a critic of the Ukraine conflict too. What did removing Saddam, Gaddafi, Assad get us? Chaos, civil war, genocide. The rule for regime change operations in the Middle East is that they don't flip a country from bad to good, they flip a country from bad to worse. Yeah, and Iran is the biggest one of them all. The other ones are tiny compared to Iran. Here's another one. The only thing this will do is stabilize the Middle East more and produce more refugees that will inevitably end up in the West. Refugees that hate the West that will continue to destroy it. All right. Yep, that's going to happen. Europe's going to get totally flooded, and Canada too. But Europe's like right there. It's a boat ride away. Russia too. Russia's going to get flooded. The majority of Western countries don't support this war. They get war anyway. Millions in the third world displaced. Majority doesn't support importing them. You must take infinity refugees because of the war. Gets refugees anyway. Repeat. Isn't Western democracy great? So, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Like, we've seen it every time. Millions and millions of refugees coming to your country. So, if that's something I'm not going to cheer. I don't care how much propaganda there is. So, this is day one. We'll see how far it goes, if it escalates or if it peters off. Hopefully, I'm hoping it does, but I have a feeling it won't. But we're going to have to keep an eye on it. So, see what happens. It's horrible. I don't know. I'm kind of hard to think today. Just had to think about this a lot. But things happening so quick too. Like, it could be like developments like by the hour. So, until next time, we'll see where that goes. But yeah, while people are worried about Iran, about an infinity amount of Indians that are coming to Canada. So we got to keep focused on that. So until next time, have a nice night.